Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the Vault. Trust Christian, own nothing, control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live or listening to replay. Definitely wanted to do this episode today. Really excited. Thank you for tuning in live or listening to replay wherever you are in the world. Uh, Definitely wanted to do an episode as the times, March 25th, 2020. Wanted to do an episode because there is a great time to do this episode. So this is 178, essential versus non-essential, public versus private. So I just want to thank everybody for tuning in live or listening to replay from wherever you are in the world, listening to this episode. Trust Christian, know nothing, control everything. You're tuning into the vault. Definitely wanted to do an episode about essential versus non-essential, public versus private. Very important episode to do because there's a demand for it right now. The market has looked like it just hit a demand zone in the marketplace where people, the public, has been shown what is essential, what is the non-essential in the marketplace. So we see a shift in the way buying habits are being done right now. Uh, the marketplace has been shown what is essential, not just what's a non-essential, but what is an essential. As well, we can get into even what is public versus private. Right now, we see that there is a public consensus. But how are the private markets doing? What are the private markets doing? And that's something that we're going to go over today in this particular episode. So just really excited. Thank you for tuning in live or listening to replay. This is definitely going to be a very important episode as we move forward in the times to come, where we have hit a demand zone in the marketplace where there has been some type of government legislation that's been passed for the public, and that is an essential thing. So when we look into the essentials right now, we can see that financials are essentials, groceries. So when people say, where's the money at? Where should I be investing right now? Because we hear that message, we hear that question. When you look at the essentials, when you look at the cleaning companies, when you look at companies that are now actually going to be bailed out, where companies are going to get bailed out, where companies are being told you can't lay off people. So that means that there's some type of economic stimulus, monetary package that's been placed into the marketplace arbitrarily. So we see some form of loans or extensions. And so the marketplace has changed into, and it shows there's essentials in banking. It shows there's a high need for financial literacy when we saw a generation of people just get their retirements wiped out. Uh, Younger that haven't put much into the marketplace, and then olders that were planning on retiring, and then now they're not going to retire because the marketplace has just shifted their retirement. It's taken away what could have been the past 3 to 5 years gain, could have been the past 10-year gains, could have been the past 20-year gains, could have been the past, could be what's considered the last 20 years gains. And either way, the gains have changed right now. And people's retirement, people's savings, particularly in the states. Some people say, well, what do you mean? Some people would say, hey, if you were living above your means, you're definitely affected because the movement of cash flow has changed and been narrowed very quickly. Um, and we just want to point out, for our forecast that at the vault to trustees is that, the marketplace has the public side, the marketplace has screamed that this is a yield of extended periods of time. This is not a 3 week run and gun. This is a extended period where someone would say, "Can we go investment status in this market? Should you be investing in this market? How great of a risk is it to be investing in this market? Whether it's directive or passive." But the market right now says that there's a public consensus for extended periods of yields to have changed to the essentials. There has been a natural occurrence which is interesting, ladies and gentlemen, because the natural occurrence was going to happen regardless of whether we wanted it to or not. This shows you whether it's Mother Nature or whether that it's the marketplace saying it was at all-time highs and there was something that had to change the marketplace. Something has changed the marketplace. The marketplace has shifted, whether it's shifted for a month, 2 months, 3 months, a year, forever. The market has been changed forever. Whether people want the market to change for a month or two, the market has changed forever. Why? Because there has been a change in the marketplace on yields, returns on investments, and we want to talk about uh, not just the essentials and the non-essentials, but even the public versus the private aspect, where people are saying, "Hey, privately, what's going on? Where is the capital? Where is energy? What's going on in the private sector?" In the private sector, it seems like it's doing quite well. You can see that there's a lot of private capital in the essentials right now, whether that's in cleaning, whether that's in groceries, whether that is in housing. Housing is still a major market for holding when you see investments in that market. And so we just see a shift in the marketplace today after legislation was passed where the marketplace is at a demand. It seems like the market has finally found what will be considered a bottom, but at the end of the day, it hasn't. And we're going to see a shift in marketplace, not just shift in where buying habits are, people's travel habits, things of that nature. The market has been culture shocked to a degree when we see the news and what has been permeated in the marketplace. There has been even economic stimulus that has been passed for the marketplace to take serious that, hey, whether you like the government or not, they actually just lobbied for the private sector to create liquidity in the marketplace, to keep liquidity in the marketplace, whether that's volume, whether that's capital, and capital has been infused into the economy. And now this is where the economy is at. The economy is at we wouldn't say at a standstill, but looking to rebound from the tremendous wealth shift that just happened, which most people don't see those type of wealth shifts happen very quickly. Usually even the rise, the market just kept going up gradually for the past 10 years, whereas you just saw a major drop in the marketplace happen literally within a matter of a month, 2 months, because of whether that's Mother Nature or not. There was a change in the marketplace when it comes from what would be considered what's essential and what's not essential, what's public versus private. What they say, well, where does the private come in? Where is the private holding strong? Once again, we talk about, even public transportation, mail service. Certain services are funded privately, where certain services are run through public infusing of capital. When we even look at the public side, such as public schools, those things shut down. If those things are from government funding, think about them. They've shut down. you know, but we also know that the asset managers for the endowments at Harvard and other colleges, those endowments are having to be grown right now. They are still sitting in a asset management position. They're sitting in a position where someone is managing those assets for that school and they're having to grow those assets. So the private sector for the asset managers that are growing Harvard's endowment funds, any schools endowments funds, any hospitals endowments funds right now, great opportunity, great time to infuse and grow capital from the private sector. Even talked to one of our private consultants in the private charitable sector actually today, and just talked about how the bill that was just passed legislative wise was actually something that has money and aid to charitable entities that are doing business, trying to actually improve the economy, because we already know that charity is to lighten the burden of government. So we're really seeing a shift in where capital was placed at, and just aid to where capital markets are. There's going to be a lot of aid that's going to be necessary. We talked to a trading partner earlier, and they said that the marketplace right now is trying to go back to work. Well, ladies and gentlemen, from our sources, the marketplace has no interest in being back at work before June or July. And when we say we're talking about across the board, we're talking about non essential businesses that are being closed down. When we say closed, there are signs in windows right now. They're not showing that side on the news right now, but there are businesses. And then they may be showing people saying, hey, we have to lay people off, or hey, we have to do that. But that's happening. So then we talk to the partner and they say, well, people that those are non essential jobs that are going to be replaced, and they're just going to go to another industry. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that doesn't always happen as quickly as people would like for it to. Essential jobs are being held up. They're going to continue to be held up through economic stimulus, through uh, through more than just that. There's gonna be a need for what's at that particular business and what they're providing. Um, we're seeing across the board that the marketplace has a lack of interest in being back at work, and we really do see that across the board. Here at the Vault, a lot of people would say, "Oh, we want to get back," but ladies and gentlemen, the businesses need to be open and running in order for that to happen. And there is a protection that's being used right now, protection measure that's being used right now to protect the baby boomers. You think about who's in office, it's baby boomers. When you think about the population that's vulnerable to what's going on right now, baby boomers, people that are in ill health. They've described who is susceptible to this. So the people that are in ill health should benefit from this package. They should benefit from staying at home. They should benefit from not being a part of the pop. But at the end of the day, what's going to happen? The entire marketplace has been shifted because that group of people is being protected. We hear that people do want to go back to work. But at the end of the day, people might not be back at work anytime soon. Now, we get to the internet marketers, we got the internet people, they're making more money over the internet than ever. There's internet shopping going up, more people are browsing, all of those good things over the internet. So it shows the essentialness of the internet, the essentialness for the development of the internet, and the businesses that can be done over the internet internationally. This shows Americans that that the internet has created what's called globalization, where capital is not just being made in one central marketplace of you having to beat the street and be in the yellow pages and white pages. Now there is a internet business card that has a website that has domain and is being done in international markets, and businesses being done in an international global marketplace, not just in a local work an hourly job. It's being worked in a 24/7 economy, and it's been that way for since the inception. And when high-speed internet is kicked in, and all these multiple Gs, 3G, 4G, all of these different levels of data that are allowing people to be over the internet and consume more data. So there's large opportunities when you even see, as much as we would like to talk about the hacking, ladies and gentlemen, there is a strong need in the marketplace. Security. Internet security is top five dead or alive hot markets right now, has been hot market because you're on the internet. If you're on the internet, there's a need for internet security. So internet security has been hot market for a long time now. We've seen that for a long time now. Internet security is a big one. And we're just going to keep moving through different industries that are essential. Internet security is essential to internet business being done and facilitated. So there's a need across the board. Whatever you can tie to security is in demand right now, not just locally for the states, and whether it's for elections or improving election websites and election data, being able to encrypt that data, make sure that that data is a lot more secure in the future is very important right now to provide those services to government providers. And this is the interesting thing. When people go read bills and read these legislations, you can almost see that there is a slight twinge of possible internet security funding inside of the bill. There is a funding for that business. Why? Because there is a need for it. Why? Because they had to address not just current situations, but future situations. That's what the meandering is about. It's about the, well, we want to put in something because we didn't get that a long time ago and we know that it could come up in the future. Right. So they need funding for it. Funding for internet security. Why? Because there's already been speculation that elections have been hacked. So if that's the case, there's a need for internet security in at least elections. And it's not just elections, greater marketplaces and industries that need security because people's data, people's information is very, very sensitive, and that information needs to be secure. So we would definitely would not be remiss if we saw some form of funding inside of it. And it's like, okay, that's a easy. We'll give it. Even if, ladies and gentlemen, internet security is huge. It's hot. It's a billion plus dollar industry. Internet security could easily have someone become a internet security could easily have someone become a nice 100 millionaire, quite a few millionaires inside of internet security just because the funding is there. The funding's there for sure right now across the board. There's going to be a need for medical supplies. Obviously, medical supplies have, jumped up, and you're starting to see private sector companies come out of nowhere. Oh, we're going to start developing this and developing that because they see that, hey, you know what? We actually have the capital that's been set aside to actually go and start investing in these things. We're cash profit up. We're profit friendly. We're heavily profit and equitable holding, but at the same time they're liquid. You see, there's going to be larger companies that are liquid, that have capital and are infusing capital in not necessarily new technologies, but more development of essential products coming out of what's a dip into back of normal way of life where the air is clean and you can walk around and things again. But at the end of the day, right now, the marketplace is demanding that there's a heavy need in medical supplies and things of that nature, cleaning supplies and that of that nature. So capital is being infused in those markets, particularly. So when we even talk about new technologies, when we talk about the technology, and people say, "Oh, I don't want to work a 9 to 5. I want to do something great and something incredible." Well, you see, internet technologies. Security, data. There's a lot of data that's being consumed right now. Everything on the internet supposedly is being recorded. So internet data is at a peak probably in the states right now, just because of the marketplace and what has made the marketplace shift to data orientation, data oriented, and on having large consumptions of data, particularly over the internet, because there are more people on the internet in the states right now than there probably has ever been. And we see that. So, just I just want to thank everybody for tuning in live. See, see quite a few people in the chat here. I just want to thank you all for tuning in live or listening to replay. But this was definitely an essential episode to do, just because there's a marketplace that is saying there's a marketplace right now that's saying that some people want to work, some people don't want to work, and there is a need for essential businesses to be open, and non-essential businesses are almost wanting to open up. You can hear the consensus, but once again, there's a protection to protect what's considered a vulnerable part of the population. And as you can see, when you see major cities in some of these institutional areas, you can see that there's a vulnerable population to what's going on out there right now, and people are taking precautions. But the private sector but the private sector is doing just quite well, and we see that. And the private sector is dealing with essentials, is dealing with even, think about it, something that wouldn't be essential is essential right now. We're going to see how long it's essential for people. But when we talk about cable television and having high speed internet at the house, because there's so many people in the house right now, the marketplace has shifted to that. Well, there is a demand back in the marketing on the television side, and as well on the internet side, where there's a heavy infusing of capital. Uh, you know, it's just very, very important to see that there is a shift in internet market. That's why we always are praising internet marketers because they're traditionally the ones that are probably getting off on people right now. Making sure that they're getting their capital still transferred to the internet through the internet, just because they're creating these products for you to learn how to start a business over the internet. Right now, even if you guys email the vault, we'll announce it, but there is a price situation with the vault and just being aware of the economic times and things of that nature. So if you haven't had a consultation, feel free to reach out at Christian@trustchristian.com. Once again, that's Christian@trustchristian.com, and we can definitely um, give you all a consultation for starting a business right now because so many people are saying, hey, I had a job and I want to shift to what's considered an online business or my own business. I don't want to be at the whim of someone else right now. And it's like, these type of economic times definitely make people have a man up or woman up situation where they are shifting to not have checks be dictated to them via a boss or a job. And then we see people that are looking to do that in the private sector that are going from entrepreneur and then going to the investor side. The investor side say, hey, we want to have more control of the capital. Once again, if you are on the public side and your retirement just got wiped out, what happens in the private sector? Did they go up? And in the private sector, they did. We saw it was actually a gain in the private sector rather quickly, and that's why we almost see the dip being done. But the dip is not done on the public side; it may be on the private side. We've even seen some private investors come out and say, "Oh, we took a hit," but it's like, okay, you took a hit on your non-essential public business. The essentials were the private. The essentials are growing right now, and non-essentials are being given economic stimulus, economic growth, some type of help and aid. But the marketplace right now is demanding for speed, ingenuity, for people to actually go look at the bill, read the bill, start making the phone calls, and getting the business going into those areas because there was a hole created. It's like a black hole. It was a hole created for wealth to begin to grow at an exponential rate because wealth just was lost at an exponential rate. Wealth was lost from people and it was gained by people at an exponential rate. And so that's where the wealth transfer is actually happening. Again, now there is a hole that needs to be filled, and that is with essential businesses. When we even talk to ladies and gentlemen over IT and things of that nature, we see that. And so we definitely wanted to go over those matters with you all today. Get some, content out to you all, and just let you all know, that there is a public side and a private side, even to the matter that's going on right now. What is doing well right now? What's not doing well right now? There are businesses that are going to continue to do well because they are, but there are opportunities where businesses can be immediately addressed, immediately funded, and immediately putting actually people to work in IT. When we had so many people say go to IT for the past 5 to 10 years, now the IT shift is here. The IT shift is more prevalent now than ever. The so-called stay-at-home work society is here, and so when we see the stay-at-home and work society, there has to be a quick adaptation to essentially what is on the internet. Where are the opportunities on the internet? And it's not just internet marketing. It's not just selling more products for people to learn how to market themselves through the internet. It's actually, once again, we could talk about security. We could talk about data. We could talk about storage. We could talk about, development, the architecture of the actual platforms that are providing not just content. Even laws in that respect are going to be passed because the internet has opened up Pandora's box for people to actually stay alive. For the internet marketers, they can brag and say, well, we're still generating capital through the internet. Essential businesses, such as businesses that can do delivery, hand to hand businesses in the States, are able to provide that. But outside of that, where else is capital being injected and transferred over the internet? And so we see a shift in the marketplace with the even gas has gone down. Why? Because the need for it has gone down, but the need for internet has not. The demand for internet has been here, has grown, and we can see where it's going to continue to go. It's going to go up because there's been a jolt to the mindset of individuals in the states and around the world to particularly participate in high-speed internet activities that don't involve people socializing or having to touch each other when these moments come. They make it easier. So anything that's so-called making it easier is going to be the thing that's going to be essential. The things that make it easy, essential things. So we thank you all for tuning in live or listening to replay. As always, uh, we got a listener, I Massey says, I'm in the IT sector, and there is a need for that. Information technology is not just a need for that. It's so much more than just that, but there's such a great need for it, and we see it, and we just want to identify when people say, where do I invest my energy and my time and my mindset and everything, capital. Those are the fields that are providing facilitation of even marketplace for communication. Appreciate you as well. Everybody that listens in live or in the replay. We've had a great loyal listening for a long time, and we just ask that really people just share the episodes with their friends and family because there is a shift in the marketplace. We've seen it. We don't know when the tsunami wave is going to be over, but a tsunami just hit. Tsunamis usually wipe out things. They have debris. There's a debris where you have so-called